Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
You've been through so much, like for instance, the 2016 Grey Cup. How hurt were you? Because I'm sitting there watching the game, getting ready to watch it all on TSN, like, Henry's got a knee injury, right? And we're like, oh, my God. How bad was it that day?
Oh, it was bad, honestly. It was bad. Even leading up that week, I was constantly getting treatment on my knee, and I just knew something wasn't right. But it was unfortunate that in the game, on the best surface possible, playing on grass, which players always welcome, that's when everything just kind of went awry during the pregame warmups, and I felt a pop in my knee. And we all know, for those who've experienced just a slight cartilage tear, when it happens, you know right away. And I'm thankful for the doctors and the staff with the Ottawa Red Blacks at the time and the Ottawa nurses from the city of Ottawa who came together and were able to come up with some concoction and inject it into my knee and give me some painkillers. But regardless of Alex Singleton and Micah Johnson and those guys hitting me left and right during that game, I couldn't feel it. So I could, I would look them in the eye when they would say, "Hey, boom! I know that had to hurt." I'd say, "Guys, I can't even feel it right now." But it felt good. It kind of put the icing on the cake for me to be able to go there and do what I needed to do, just to finish my career off in the right way. But trust me, my knee was all jacked up, and that's the reason why, for me, if we had to play another period in overtime, it would have been tough for me to survive that, because by the end of that game, my knee was completely locked out due to the amount of swelling that was in my left knee.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
It's like Ravine, the famed illusionist. He would hypnotize the whole crowd. My dad always told this joke. He goes, oh, yeah, Ravine was performing at the Center of the Arts. He had the whole room hypnotized. And he said, the next thing I say, you will all do. And he got tripped up, tangled on his mic cord and tripped and went, crap. Took him 2 weeks to get the smell out.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, everybody. Hey, welcome to the RP Show on a Football Friday. Here's me not ready to go. There's a reason for that. Get the loud bell out. Let's bring in the Moose. It is a Football Friday. Hello, everybody that's checking in this morning. Ready for 2 hours of sports talk. Their favorite sports talk show is setting sail here on the Game Plus television network and streaming. Moose, as I look for my littler bell, my little Tinker Bell, what's up with you? Tell us something good.
My guy, we got the NFL memo today, I guess. We're going to talk some NFL. You got the Steelers on. I got the Titans on. I'm thinking a lot about the draft already. Obviously, our thumbnail alluded to maybe Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it's good, man. It's good. And as you know, I was watching hockey this morning, so we're having a good start to the day.
At my own peril, I went into the comments here, and people, they're popping. They're bouncing off the walls already. So just hang on, guys and gals. I'll get to you. Can you hit the quick six show horn, guys, and we'll get down to business with what we do here. Jim Barker coming up in hour 2 from the CFL on TSN, formerly the XFL and NCAA. What are we going to talk about? The big story? I'm going to throw a curveball at you. It's the NFL, because what did I say the other day? It's the one thing that unites us all. The National Football League. And Russell Wilson has bounced around the NFL the past few years. A one-time Super Bowl winner, suddenly without a consistent home and facing doubts and critics about his play. Well, the 36-year-old quarterback is now officially at his latest stop after signing his one-year deal with the New York Giants Wednesday, and then a day after meeting with the media. He said, quote, in a news conference yesterday, Moose, I expect to be the starter and to be able to come here and rock and roll every day. Russell Wilson, a 10-time Pro Bowler, helped Pittsburgh make the playoffs last season and threw for 2,482 yards and 16 tugs. The Steelers allowed Wilson to become a free agent, as they did with Justin Fields, who signed with the New York Jets. While there was a chance Wilson could be back in Pittsburgh, the Steelers also met with Aaron Rodgers, who remains a possibility to sign there if he wants to play a 21st NFL season. So, again, everybody's got an opinion on the National Football League. I should open with the NFL every day. God knows they said they wished that I would. And my funny story on this, Darren, is that in the pool this morning, I wasn't in the pool, but my neighbor Harry was. And he said to me, hey, Rod, where's Rodgers going? And I said, I don't know. To be honest, I think he's going to retire. He goes, I think he's going to go to Minnesota, as Harry was doing his laps. And he's like, come on in, man. The water's like a whirlpool, which I dipped my toe in, and it was. I don't know why or what the deal was. But Harry says, my neighbor, Aaron Rodgers, is going to Minnesota. And that was just a curveball to me. And initially, I thought it's a little early to be nipping into the cough medicine, which I actually am. But Darren, Harry said with the Super Bowl, he asked me my Super Bowl prediction, and I asked him his, and he goes, I think the Eagles are going to run all over them. Do you remember what happened in the Super Bowl? Refresh my memory and everybody else's what happened in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he was right.
The Eagles ran all over him. So Harry, that's his thing. So I don't know. We're opening with this NFL quarterback stuff, and people just don't seem to get tired of it.
I think we got a new segment for the show. What is Harry thinking? Like, he's like the Nostradamus here, and maybe we got to know all the hot button issues. Even ask him some CFL questions. If he doesn't know, maybe he'll give you an answer. But yeah, we wait and watch. And the one thing I've seen actually in the last 24 hours that I didn't see in the last 2 weeks has been talk of Aaron Rodgers' retirement. I don't know how realistic this is, but I'm hearing that retirement is an option. That's what we're seeing a little bit. More than I maybe thought it was. I still don't think that's where Aaron Rodgers is going to go. I think he's going to play. I think he's going to sign in Pittsburgh. But the retirement word's being thrown around a little bit, which I thought was a little surprising.
The R word. Okay, let's just hang on for a second here. So a couple things. Number one, Harry, he's originally from Colombia, raised in Jersey, and now he's living here in South Florida, and he's my neighbor. There's also Ted. You've heard me talk about Ted. He lives here. They got a place here, but his wife lives in New Haven. I don't want to divulge any more details, but she's down here now. And Ted's like, if you want to wait, because he came down to the pool this morning too, and he's like, if you want to wait a little bit, you'll meet my wife. I'm like, I got to go, Ted. He goes, well, she's leaving tomorrow at 10 a.m. And I said, when's the next time you're going to see her? He goes, I don't know. I'm like, you can do that? Rich in Edmonton writes in, and he says, 2.5 feet of snow and still falling. Fun commute to downtown. There's a reason Rod lives in South Florida. Yes, there is. And hang on, Mark and Melfort. I'll slip this in. His question here via the YouTube chat for those that are watching on streaming. He says, hey, Rod, honest opinion. What do you think the odds of Trey Lance to sign with the Rough Riders is? That was actually my fifth point. But I'll jump to it because you asked. And it's a Football Friday, and I'm that teacher that you've broken me down by Friday. You've broken me down. So whatever you want to talk about, I'm okay with. I'm just ready for the weekend. So here's my thoughts on the Riders adding current Dallas Cowboys backup quarterback Trey Lance to their negotiation list. I think there's a less than 10% chance of it happening. I believe it's less than 10%, maybe even 5% of players that are on the negotiation list ever come into Canada to play in the CFL. Having said that, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, this current regime, aren't prone to PR stunts like the Chris Jones of the world and the Jim Pops and these guys. So they must feel there's a reasonable chance of getting Trey Lance. So they would probably answer differently than me. But history shows less than 10% of neg list players ever play in the CFL. So that's my thinking. I don't think it's going to happen. What's your answer to that before we move on?
Yeah, I don't think so either. I would say at the very least, not anytime soon. So you're going to have to be really patient. I think he stays in Dallas. I think they're going to go, keep him on the roster. This is 2 or 3 years down the road, I think, if it happens. But I'm not thinking it's going to happen.
Yeah. These are different times, and people need to understand, just because his dad played for the Rough Riders, there is so much money to be made in the NFL. He's not jumping to come to Saskatchewan just because his dad played there. That's my opinion. I don't know the guy. Moving on. We'll come back on all these things. Point two is very simply this. I see some UFL fans have showed up to play today, the United Football League. Our poll question for EMJ Marketing is this. Are you into the UFL kickoff, which is tonight? And the only reason I know, we were talking about this in our morning meeting today, was I was watching Fox News this week. Not that I regularly watch Fox News, but it was on at LA Fitness. So I'm watching it, and they got Daryl Johnson on there, I guess one of the owners of the league. He's a broadcaster. Dallas Cowboys, great. And they're like, UFL season kicks off Friday night. I'm like, how about that? That's pretty cool that they're talking about this on Fox News. It's the only reason I knew. It's still a no for me because I can't name one player. I'm going to the Florida Panthers and Utah Hockey Club tonight. I won't be watching. It's a no from me on the UFL. How about you?
Yeah, it's a no from me too, unfortunately. It's just not a league I've jumped into, followed. And honestly, I hate to say it, but if it wasn't for you and the show, I don't know that I would have known it was starting today. And, all due respect to the league, I think it has an opportunity to grow into something, but not on my radar. And I don't think most Canadians either.
Sorry, Jenna in California, but that doesn't mean that you can't like it. By the way, 94% of respondents on our Twitter poll are saying no, they're not into it. There is breaking news from the CFL today, and which we'll get into later. It's not like we're going to ignore this, but we're moving on now. But the CFL has released its final salary cap expenditures for 2024 season. How about their final salary cap violators? There are 4 teams that were over. The BC Lions by $347,889. Let's say, just say an even $350,000 the BC Lions are over. Just so you know, as a longtime CFL guy, I can tell you that's a record. And as much as I love those guys out there, that's why they have a new general manager this year. That's all I'm going to say. You're over 350 grand, and you still didn't get into the Grey Cup in your own backyard. Also over, the Toronto Argonauts, $87,000. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, $40,000 over. And the Ottawa Redblacks, $22,914 over. We'll come back on that, but that's breaking news. You can all debate it amongst yourselves. And there's comments coming in on that. But there's also hockey people, hockey fans that have tuned in today. Let's remember that Canada's under snow. It's March. Dallas Stars goalie Casey DeSmith made 46 saves in a 5-2 win over the Calgary Flames last night. Nazem Kadri scored twice for Calgary, who have 11 games left in the regular season to claim a playoff spot. Meanwhile, the Blues, holding down the final wild card spot in the West, moved 6 points clear of the Flames with a 3-2 win over Nashville. And Jaden Schwartz scored twice. Joey Decord made 36 saves, and the Seattle Kraken dumped the Edmonton Oilers 6-1 to snap a 3-game skid. Calvin Pickard, who played 11-01 the previous night in relief of Stuart Skinner, made 24 saves. I didn't even bother to look at any comments from Oilers fans or media after the Oilers lost 6-1 in Seattle last night. What I will say is this. You didn't like Stuart Skinner anyways, so you got your wish. How's it look? I beat you last night 6-5 in the picks. It's not a bad night. We're very even.
We're both really good.
But I lead the aggregate 146-144. And before you get out of here today, we'll make our picks for tonight. Thoughts on last night's NHL games?
Yeah, interesting. It was that Seattle-Edmonton game. I think that was the big difference in our breakaway bets. And as you know, I'm wrapping up watching the Leafs and Sharks, and that was a heck of a game last night. And I even started.
I'll bet you that San Jose wins. Continue.
I don't want to. No, I'm just kidding. Don't spoil it. No, I'm kidding. I know what happens.
Continue. Sorry.
I was going to say, I've already started penning my column for next week. And, spoiler alert for the column, San Jose is a really fun team to watch. They're last in the National Hockey League and Chicago. They're not nobody's close. Like coming in, I think they're 13 points still behind Nashville. They're the 2 worst teams points-wise, and it's not close. But San Jose is fun. They're exciting. The young players, you see the growth. They're fun to watch. It's an easy sell to the fan base that the future is really bright. And in Chicago, it's none of those things. So you watch the San Jose Sharks. This is how you want to do a rebuild. Young players, you see the future, whether it's Celebrini, Will Smith, Zach Stapchuk. They're doing the right things. They're a fun team to watch. They're going to be good. And that was a fun game last night.
I'm not going to get into the debates of the viability or importance of the United Football League. 94% of our respondents saying they're not even into the fact that it's kicking off this weekend. So we've mentioned that. If you want to watch it, go ahead. I will mention this. So the Florida Panthers announced this morning that Brad Marchand will play. You have to be fluent in coach speak. Because on Wednesday, Marchand was skating with the Panthers, and this is what Paul Maurice said. He's as dyed-in-the-wool hockey coach as any that I've ever known, and I've known them my whole life. He said, Brad Marchand will practice on Thursday, participate through a full practice, and barring any problems, he'll play Friday night against Utah. And I'm like, he's playing. And that was the title of our Cats and Bolts podcast. We talked about it on there, and then people are DMing me, no, they didn't declare him in. I'm like, no, you're not listening. Paul Maurice said he's playing. Paul Maurice isn't a PR guy or a marketing sales guy. He's not throwing it out there to get you to buy tickets. Paul Maurice, if he says he's going to play Friday, barring any hiccups, he's been skating for a month. What's going to happen now? He's going to trip over his own feet and fall into the end boards? That was never going to happen. So, again, you need to be fluent in coach speak. Not everybody is, but I'm very grateful that I am. Point 4, Tyler O'Neill went 3 for 3, including a 3-run homer in his Baltimore debut, and the visiting Orioles thumped the Blue Jays 12-2 on opening day of the 2025 MLB season. O'Neill is now homered in an MLB record 6 straight season openers. He was playing his first ever opener in his home country of Canada. It was one of those days where I was saying earlier in the week, you know, you have all this anticipation. We had months of anticipation for the season opener. I hate that when that happens. Thank God for baseball. You can get right back at it the next day. But just so you know, I didn't watch one pitch. I'm like, I'll put my feet up and listen to it. That's how I discovered Blue Jays baseball or became a huge fan, was on the radio, CFSL Weyburn. I can listen to it. No, you can't, Rod. I'm like, I got to pay? I already pay for a Sirius XM subscription as it is. I got to pay more? Nope. So I turned the TV on ESPN. I'm watching the Yankees and the Brewers. I'm like, hey, there's my gym buddy, Joe Girardi. I said that yesterday. I just saw Joe Girardi the day before at LA Fitness. Now he's in the booth. And I'm watching the Yankee game. If you want to know why these salaries are going through the roof, it's because of crap like that. I'm like, no, if I can't even listen to the Blue Jays on a paid subscription service I already pay for, I'm out. So that's where I am on that.
You didn't
what was
miss
your
much.
Blue Jays opening? Yeah, no, exactly. What was your opening day take?
Well, I told you I was a little upset with the local radio in Toronto, and I hate to say it because they're usually pretty good. But the pregame show starts and there's no energy. Nobody's excited about opening day. I was like, the sun was out. I told you it was 3 or 4 degrees. Rod, throughout the afternoon, it got up to 13 degrees here in Toronto before opening pitch. The roof still wasn't open, but it was gorgeous. The sun was out, blue skies. It felt like spring training. I went to the grocery store, bought some hot dogs, popcorn, the ball snacks, and I listen to the pregame show and just sucked the life out of it, right? Like it was just no excitement. Well, it's here, opening day, and we got a lineup, ruffle our papers, and here's who's on the lineup. I'm like, how about hot damn, opening day? We've been waiting all these days. Like, let's go, right? Didn't have it. And guess what? Not that they were listening, but the Jays, they played just like that pregame show. No energy, 6 home runs given up. Barrios was bad. It was a fun day eating hot dogs and watching baseball, but the game wasn't very good.
I pounded a couple of Nathan's hot dogs myself, and I thoroughly enjoyed them. And let's put it this way. When you put people on radio and television that are not broadcasters, that's what you get. But what do I know? Hang on, everybody. Take a pause. We'll be right back. It's the warm-up on a Football Friday. We got a lot to get to gridiron-wise, but a lot to get to otherwise. We'll be right back here on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcast.
Sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Okay, Hour 1 is brought to you by Landmark Cinemas, and Landmark Cinemas now Black Bag from director Steven Soderbergh. Black Bag is a gripping spy drama about legendary intelligence agents George Woodhouse and his beloved wife Catherine. When she's suspected of betraying the nation, George faces the ultimate test, loyalty to his marriage or his country. Starring Kate Blanchett. Catch Black Bag at Landmark Cinemas tonight. Okay, let's bring the Moose in. We're having a great end of the week discussion. That's what I feel anyways. George Baburis has checked in. He says, raise the roof. Yeah, I'm with you on that, George. Rich in Edmonton regarding the Blue Jays getting spanked, throttled, shellacked like a outhouse toilet seat yesterday by Baltimore. Rich Robertson writes in and he says, a 12-2 loss and a guy thrown out for wearing a Canada is not for sale hat. The Shatkins-run Blue Jays are a complete mess, both on and off the field. Can I just say this? I don't want to get you in too much trouble, but I'm going to get you in a little trouble here. This morning in a 12-step meeting that I was in, 10 years sober here, folks. A guy said that he is now only purchasing Canadian products. By the way, it was a Canadian meeting. We do it via Zoom. And he said he only purchases Canadian products for his breakfasts as an anti-American stance. I'm like, you should have always been supporting Canada. Why did it take this for you to support your own country? I will go to my grave on that. Just now you're supporting only Canadian? Seems kind of anti-Canadian to me. How do you feel about that?
Well, yeah, I think that's a natural reaction. I am a little different where I'll say, well, guess what? At least you're supporting it now. You know? Yes, you're right. Where were you the rest of your life? But at least you're here now. Okay, we'll take it. We'll take it for now. And you know what? I would say to the same guy, I'd be like, okay, but when this is over, don't stop. Right? When this trade stuff is over and it's back to whatever, don't stop buying Canadian. Support people in your own backyard if you can. Local is best.
I'm as Canadian as they get. I'm 65 years old, and it took Donald Trump to get me to support Canadian products.
How about that?
George in Florida watching checks in, and he says, release the moose. Looking good, guys. Thank you, George. You're a good one. It is a football Friday, and we're going to get into a lot of CFL talk here. Like, Brad Marchand declared will be his Florida Panthers debut. I could read between the lines on Wednesday when Paul Maurice said it might happen tonight, barring any problems, that I knew that he was going to be playing tonight. And I'm going tonight. I'm going to see Brent from Wellington, Florida there. We're looking forward to seeing each other again. Jay in Winnipeg says, who is Marchie playing with? He's on the second line with Sam Bennett and Mackie Samoskevich, is what I heard. Well, hey, if you don't like CFL talk, you can leave. It's a football Friday. This is when I allow it, even in the offseason. So here's the news. I love the CFL, and I know they love me. They sent me this news release, Darren. It's up right now at rodpeterson.com. Top running item. The BC Lions, Toronto Argonauts, Saskatchewan Roughriders, and Ottawa Redblacks exceeded the CFL's salary cap expenditure cap this year. In addition to being fined, the Lions will forfeit the highest of their first and second round picks in this year's draft due to the amount by which they exceeded the cap. Per the CFL Constitution, the team with the highest waiver priority, in this instance Calgary, because they finished last year, have been awarded BC's forfeited picks as the final selections in the first two rounds, numbers 8 and 17. Listen, I could sit here and talk about this all flipping day. I could, because I love it. I'm like you and our viewers here, especially the football fans. We love this talk. I thought there was a rule in there that you were fined over $100,000, dollar for dollar, over $100,000. BC was $350,000 over. This could cripple a CFL franchise, for the love of God. And I'll say it again. I feel, this is me talking, not anybody else, this is why they have a new general manager this year, Ryan Rigmaid, and they completely botched the cap. Now, the other teams did too. Ottawa, Sask, and Toronto. But $350,000, that's going $190K. Right? That's a give us your driver's license fee, not just a speeding ticket. And just so you know, this stuff ain't easy. It's not easy. All the fans want to play armchair general manager and think it's so bloody easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm also saying it's your job. Right? This ain't easy. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. How about you?
Yeah, it's it's something we see every year. I don't know that we really see years where nobody goes over the cap. I'm sure it exists. I don't recall, but hey, you go over the cap by that much, you got to pay the penalty. It's a big one. And I know Nathan Rourke, really was a big part of that, them going over the cap. And Matthew Betts coming back from the NFL too. That also added to it. You got to pay the fine. You got to pay the fine. The draft picks, yeah, that hurts too. Calgary's benefit. But to me, I hear it, and to me, it's a non-story because we just see this so often every year. Here's the teams who went over the cap. Like it gets sent out like a formality. Okay, here's the people who got their things, and they're going to pay their fines, and we move on, and we don't really think anything of it. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it is how I feel.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, the fans have a lot of takes on this, and I appreciate them for that. Jeff, the Stamps fan, thank you, buddy. He says, congrats on the 10 years sobriety, Rod. Thank you, man. One day at a time. But I'll tell you what, it's the winning team. Oh, wish I'd done it earlier, but no looking back. He says the signing of Nathan Rourke did that, and you brought up the signing of Betts. I guess, but that's what's confusing about the CFL. When it happened, When they signed him, these guys coming back from the NFL, Jim Barker said on this show, oh, it's the marketing money. I'm like, the what? Oh, they got this marketing money budget, and it's unlimited from what I understand. Since when? So I don't understand. But what I know is this. If I see something I want and I can't afford it, I don't buy it. Is that foreign? You know, we're going to be $350,000 over the cap to sign a quarterback that we don't even end up playing anyways. It's going to screw up our locker room. Rich in Edmonton writes in and he says, looks so good on the Lions, having them circle the toilet in the playoffs. By the way, I'm not sitting here bashing the BC Lions. It probably sounds like I am, but I'm not, because I love them. Even when I was in the league for all that time, I said, this is outside of home for me, Sask, the greatest game atmosphere in BC plays. Oh, was then, still is. The people are great with that organization. Amar Doman is a huge supporter of ours, but I wonder if he's kicking some ass around there. I wonder. Think he's mad?
Well, I think there's something going on. Like, I think the expectations, need to be high there, right? It's like, hey, this happened. Okay. You got these players in, we got the pieces. Like, this better turn into a winning situation in a hurry, really quickly. And that's it. When you put we say, put your balls on the table, you put yourself out there, you spend the money, you got to pay the fines. Okay, the results better be coming. And it's in a results business. Otherwise, jobs will go, and we're going to see it.
Well, and guys did get fired, but this is the kind of day that our P1s really love because it is a CFL audience. But Jeff, the Stamps fan, says Doman may support it. It might have been his idea. I don't know. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. And he has also pointed out that the Calgary Stampeders have never violated the salary cap, and they haven't. It's funny. If this means anything to Stampeders fans, I can't remember who it was that said this to me. I think it might have been Leo Ezrins, but I'm not sure. And Leo's probably watching right now. I love those old CFL greats, the white-haired guys. They got the experience, right? And he said to me once, if you told Chris Jones, if it was Leo, it was one of those guys, right? Those guys that I talked to, that you have to play by the rules. He couldn't do it. He is physically incapable of doing it, right? Of being a general manager, running a team, jury out, and coaching a team. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it without breaking the rules. Rough Riders had historic fines in 2018. My last season with the team and Chris Jones running the show. And whoever it was, let's just say Leo, goes, but if you took John Huffnagel and said, Huff, you have to break the rules to run this team, he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. They've never been over the salary cap. They've never been over the coach's cap, which says a lot, doesn't it, about Huff? I love the man. I do. Even though he was the coach of the rival team for all those years, you got to respect the integrity of what he did for so long in Calgary. It's not that I don't respect Jones either, but I'll tell you something. Talking to agents, the way he burned money in Edmonton, why has that not been reported? That's what I would like throwing around signing bonuses and then cutting the guy before camp. What are you doing? Just burning money. Some people, again, this ain't easy. It's not easy to do. But Darren, some people are cut out for it and some aren't. What's your take on all that?
Yeah, geez, at the end of the day, people have to do it in a way that matches what they wanted, like their integrity, their values, and you have to be all into the vision, whether that's playing by the rules or not playing by the rules or whatever. Not saying if you're a cheater, you need to continue to be a cheater and go all in on that. But I mean, look, you can't make John Huffnagel break the rules. I get it, but can't argue he's been successful. So obviously it works for him. And other guys, hey, they spend with no consequences and people keep giving them chances. So what are they going to do? Keep spending with no consequences, right? It's just the way it is. Everybody's different that way. Yeah. And you got to be in the right situation.
Many ways to skin a cat. Tony from Cochrane writes in and he says, what about Federic giving Flutie $1 million? That was Larry Rickman. who I think is still in jail. And I don't think Flutie ever got his $1 million. So anyways, we're having a fun football discussion today. I feel like we're going to get to our NHL picks in the next segment, but get your comments in, everybody. The Progressive Insurance text line is open, 902-518-3033. Switch to Progressive and you could save a bunch. And also our poll question today for EMJ Marketing is, are you into the United Football League kickoff? I do want to talk about the league a little later, but 94% of respondents are saying they're not into it. Like, why would we talk about it if 94% are? Marginally more are into the CFL news. Way more are into the whereabouts of Aaron Rodgers. So let's get real about it. Oh, and before we break, BW from Edmonton, who's in Assiniboia today, which is one of my favorite towns. They air my commentary every day on the radio there. BW says, Rod, any more whispers about the CFL commissioner search? I love you, BW. You watch every day, but what language do I need to speak? Because English ain't working. So do I need to Google French, Spanish, Chinese?
Oh, look.
But tell me, what do you need? Yeah. We'll be right back. They don't want it talked about. We're live on Game Plus, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcast.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers, Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Okay, the RP Show continues on a Football Friday. Hour 1 is for Culligan Water, clear choice. Filter out the bad and taste the good. Culligan Water of Regina. Visit them at CulliganRegina.com. Congratulations to the Pat Canadians. Won the Saskatchewan Midget AAA Hockey League. It'll always be midget to me. Moose joins me here. They swept out Moose Jaw. How about that, James Gallo? Nothing finer than beating Moose Jaw, if that rhymes. And first league title since 2015. They're going to the regionals now in Kenora and hoping to win their 5th national championship. It used to be the Air Canada Cup. Us old-time Regina hockey guys are regaling stories. Talked to Corey Pedersen down there in Tallahassee. Well, up there in Tallahassee as I look at it. He was on the 1988 Regina Pat Canadians who won the Air Canada Cup, coached by Roland Duplessis, managed by Graham Tour. Father time. You've heard my story. Graham Tour and my dad were in the same seniors home in Regina. So the day that I bought Big Bird, I rolled up. You remember Big Bird, my 1975 antique Jeep. And, oh, my God, Graham and my dad were just blown away by this Jeep. And I said, okay, guys, I'm going to go park the Jeep. Let's go to Graham's room and have a fresca. And Graham's like, oh, we got to get the girls out of there. I'm sure, Graham. I'm sure you got some of the honeys there in your room. Probably did. Way to go, Pat Canadians. Brad Marchand will make his Florida Panthers debut, but I knew that on Wednesday. The Panthers officially announced it this morning. Okay, Moose, let's do our picks for tonight. You ready?
Okay. Yeah.
I narrowly edged Moose last night, 6-5. I lead him 146 to 144 in the year-long, or at least in the new year, our picks nightly. Utah at Florida tonight. Who wins?
I'll go Florida. Marshy coming back.
Yep. Me too. Montreal at Carolina.
Hurricanes for me.
Yeah, me too. Vancouver at Columbus.
Canucks are always. I'm on the wrong side of the Canucks. I'm going to take Vancouver tonight.
Okay, I'll take Columbus. The New Jersey Devils at the Winnipeg Jets.
Ooh, Winnipeg.
I got to go with the Jets too. Sorry. Oh, what am I apologizing for? Vegas at Chicago. Go Golden Knights. Golden Knights for me. How about you?
Yeah, me too.
Ain't this boring, Moose? Knuckle. And the New York Rangers at the Anaheim Ducks. Jacob Trouba faces his former team, if anybody cares. Rangers for me.
I'll take the Rangers tonight. Yeah, me too. This is not very exciting, these picks.
It is what it is. It is what it is. I won't play the goggles paisano and stay in front of you the rest of the way. I won't do that. That's my daily Flintstones reference. John writes in and he says, Fresca, they still make it? Yes, it was my dad's favorite soda pop. So good, Fresca. Rich in Edmonton says, Billy in Slapshot hailed from Moose Jaw, as was announced at the infamous fashion show. Oh, we know. Yeah, we on a daily basis recite Slapshot lines in our house. Regarding the poll question of, are you into the UFL kickoff tonight? Greg in Calgary writes in and he says, football is my favorite sport, but UFL? No. I feel like he speaks for a lot of people. And the thing is, I was into it for a while. Like when the XFL got off the ground this third time, I remember being at Disney World and seeing the signs all around Disney World, and the Rock was on the poster. They're not spending as much money on advertising the UFL this time around, Darren. And I hear these stories of the players were going to have a walkout or a lockout or a strike, and some teams don't have coaching staffs. No, I have to take it with a grain of salt in some ways. I don't think like this, but there's a lot of CFL people that are going out of their way to denigrate and throw dirt on the UFL. I don't like that, but that's just the way some people are. Any competition, it's pooh, pooh. That's cool. That's the way business is for some people. But that's not why I'm not watching the UFL. Again, I'm going to be at the Panthers in Utah tonight. I can't name one player in the league. I'm actually shocked that the league is still in existence, to be honest.
Yeah, but I mean, in those markets, people are going to the games, maybe not selling out all of them, but I think St. Louis was doing really well. Houston, there was teams that were doing really good, like in terms of getting fans to the games. And in those markets, you hope people care. But I mean, we sit here and think the league doesn't exist. We don't know it starts, and we're like waiting for it to die again. And unfortunately, it doesn't have a great track record of spring football. But just because it died a few times in the past doesn't mean it's always going to die. And just because we all don't watch it doesn't mean it's not going to work. I never watched the NFL for the first however many years of my life, and then eventually I caught on to it. So the league just has to stay around long enough to build a little more interest, and eventually they'll have a breaking point. But that's an early league. They're just going to continue to do it, and hopefully they make enough money at the gate to survive.
I don't know. I say this truthfully, because you get the truth from me every day, and Darren. I don't really care whether they survive or they don't. But what I will say is that I'm a student and a fan of football history, and I like the stories from 1984 and Donald Trump owning the New Jersey Generals in the United States Football League, and how he got barred from being an NFL owner by the NFL owners, colluded to keep him out. And 40 years later, he comes in to the Super Bowl as the president. Trust me, I think he's an asshole too, but that's a great story. You know, like, keep me out now, you sons of bitches. Yeah. No, that's great stuff. Or the XFL. I had friends in the league back in 2001, and Jim Barker's one, but trivia question. Who scored the most points? The first points in the history of the XFL back in 2001. You'll never get it. Paul McCallum. I was watching in the living room of our family farmhouse with my brother. Maybe both of them were there. I'm not sure, but it was awesome, man. It was in Vegas. He was playing for the Las Vegas, whatever the hell they were, Outlaws, I believe. I was into it at one time, but I'm not anymore. Changing names, not knowing the players. I heard they were going to put have the players come up with their own name bars. Remember that? He Hate Me. Rod, people still talk about that. Was legendary. Was it in your crew of people? When the guys had their own name bars that they could put whatever they wanted on them? Well, among the football people, they thought that was the coolest thing ever, which I still do. I heard a rumor that they're going to allow the players to put their own, whatever they want. What would you think about it when you're out having your dart? What would you put on your name bar? And for that case, everybody watching. You know, Ron Artest put Meta World Peace. Actually changed his name to that. Remember, that was on his back. So what would you have on your name bar if you could and you played in the XFL back in the day? Okay, Moose, I'll see you in hour 2.
You bet. See you then.
Mini Overtime is next. We're live on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcast.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now back to the studio with Rod.
Here I am, got caught with my pants down. I don't have the sports update filled out, but you want to know why? Because I've been texting back and forth with Arash Madani Clark. You may want to know. I've been texting back and forth with Arash about when he's going to come on the show next and when we can chat. It was really weird not seeing him on Sportsnet with the Blue Jays here in the spring training and now the regular season. But, yeah, one of the good ones, Arash Madani. I'll tell you what, I fully believe this. I put it in my Weekend Things column, which you can read for free by signing up for the Rod Squad newsletter. There it is. Use the QR code right there and sign up for free. The 10 Weekend Things column is in there. I said, if Arash Madani can be let go by Sportsnet, it's like Gretzky being traded. Anybody can be traded. Anybody can be let go. Former Canadian Reporter of the Year. What a crappy businessman. I don't know why people want to get into it. God bless them. Noni in Calgary writes in on the Progressive Insurance text line. She says, Rod, I couldn't agree more with your Support Canada comments. People love jumping on the bandwagon. But she's referring to, I'll get to in a second. She says, and thank goodness the Jays have lots more games to get yesterday's ugliness out of their mouth. And she says, we shouldn't be surprised about the BC Lions exceeding the salary cap. I'm glad to hear they are being more than fined. Oh, yeah, they lost picks. And actually, Brian writes in from Hudson's Bay. He says, Rod, I read BC's getting fined $600 and some thousand. It's dollar for dollar up to 100,000 and doubles, I think, even triples the more you go over. And congrats on the 10 years sobriety. I don't touch the stuff anymore myself. Yeah, it's, for me, the best way to live. I don't sit here and tell everybody else to do it, but if you want to stop, there's a better way out there. I couldn't remember the CFL salary cap rules. What I knew is they were in it for a hell of a big penalty, the BC Lions, for being almost $350,000 over the cap. And thank you, Freddie in Winnipeg says the same thing. Congrats, Rod, for 10 years. That's awesome. It's not 10 years today. I passed it in January. It just came up. I don't even know how it came up earlier today. Talking about the pro-Canadian products, and let's not forget, I lived in the country exclusively for 48 years, and I still spend a lot of time in Canada in the summer working. But a guy was very proud this morning in a meeting that I was in, saying how he uses only Canadian products in his breakfast. That's new for him. Supporting Canada. You just started? All these people that pro-Canada, okay, don't spend money on the NFL. If you really love Canada, buy CFL tickets this year. Because I wrote about it last NFL season. All those people I saw on my social media that were blowing thousands of dollars for NFL excursions flying out of Canada, I don't see them at CFL games. Just saying.
How about that?
The orange troll, or whatever people want to call them, to get people supporting Canada. Kirk in Toronto writes in, he says, "Hi, Rod. Where were Canadians flag waving / buying stuff made in Canada only in the last 10 years of Trudeau? And did you see the raucous conservative rally in Surrey? Standing room only." That's my bad. My bad for starting this. Sorry. Did I start it? I probably did. Ryder Gord writes in from Devon, Alberta. He says, "I did or tried to watch the Blue Jays home opener. First time after all, we're under a foot plus of snow. Tough to do, but the anthem singers were awesome. Best O Canada I think I've ever listened to." That was the highlight. Oh, yeah. The turning point was the national anthem. I don't think Clark can answer this, but maybe Hugh can in the break. Why was the baseball season starting in March? It's at least usually April 1st. Was there a reason for this? Tell me in the break if you can't now. Okay, it was a couple seasons ago they've been doing it. And why was the game delayed yesterday? Because I can't remember what... Oh, I was on Brian Snow's show, and I kept seeing the Blue Jays game was delayed and delayed and delayed. Eventually, they got it off. The Jays never really did start in the game yesterday.
Bingo!
There was a delay on that. We covered this earlier, but I get paying for streaming. Listen, trust me, I get it. And you people should be very happy you get this show for free every day. But I'm not paying to listen to it. No. You got to draw the line somewhere. So I watched something else, and it was just fine. More Football Friday and Jim Barker coming up after this.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Shania Twain.
Let's go, girls.
Live in Moose Jaw. Shania Twain. One incredible show. Live at Temple Garden Center, July 7th. With special guest, Lindsay L. Get tickets Friday, March 21st at 10 a.m. at the Temple Garden Center's box office or sasktix.ca. For more, visit ShaniaTwain.com.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It's like Ravine, the famed illusionist. He would hypnotize the whole crowd. My dad always told this joke. He goes, oh, yeah, Ravine was performing at the Center of the Arts. He had the whole room hypnotized. And he said, the next thing I say, you will all do. And he got tripped up, tangled in his mic cord and tripped and went, crap. Took him 2 weeks to get the smell out.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh, my God, my dad. He's been coming up a lot lately in my stories. That was another Jim Pedersen joke right there. Welcome to Hour 2 of a Football Friday. Let's bring the Moose in. One more segment with Moose. Jim Barker, next segment from the CFL on TSN, an XFL champion. Darren, I want to just say right now, I guess, my dad was a tremendous man, farmer, a very good one. NHL scout, WHL scout, a very good one. But he built my very first press box in the Milestone Diesel Dome in 1988. I was broadcasting senior hockey games on CFSL Weyburn. I was in high school. And this weekend, I will be broadcasting the Milestone Midget Flyers, Game 2 of the Provincial C U18 Championships against Aberdeen. We're doing it remotely. I'm not leaving Florida to call this. But they have a chance to win a provincial championship for the first time since 1989, when yours truly was in goal. My dad will be part of this. He'll be around it somehow or another. But he built I'll never forget him. Swinging the hammer, building the press box on the catwalk in the Milestone Diesel Dome. That's pretty cool. To me, that's pretty cool stuff. Yeah, so for those that are interested, if you want to hear me call a hockey game, which I haven't in a day or two, follow my social media feeds, and we will post the links. On a Football Friday, there's a lot of things going on. Boys, you want to hit the Quick Six show horn, please? And we'll re-up where we were. We're on television in Canada, which is blanketed in snow, I understand, from everybody. And the hockey races are on. But we've spent 4 days this week talking about it. Everywhere you look, it's hockey, hockey, hockey. We do football here on Friday. So my big story, the number one point, was the NFL and Russell Wilson meeting with the media in New York, saying that he expects to be the starter for the Giants. And That shouldn't be news. My neighbor Harry says he thinks Aaron Rodgers is going to the Minnesota Vikings. And Harry knows his stuff. He's rarely wrong. He's a money guy from Jersey, Darren. I never even asked you, what do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to do? Because I think he's going to retire. I do.
I think he's going to go to Pittsburgh and sign with the Steelers. I've heard maybe they're high on the quarterback out of Alabama, Jalen Milroe. But I'm not. Yeah, but I'm not sure. I think Rodgers goes to Pittsburgh. It's the logical thing. I don't think he's retiring. I think we want to end. I mean, we can't always end on a good chapter, but I don't think he wants his legacy to end on what happened with the New York Jets. I think that's it. So I think he'll play, and I think he'll play in Pittsburgh.
Well, if the coverage is right, and trust me, I'm used to it now, but you get the coverage pumped into your head here 24/7, especially being in a football-mad state like Florida. If I have it right, Aaron Rodgers met with the Steelers last week. Sounds like they've made him an offer, and now he's deciding whether he wants to take it or not. And it's like, if he took it, he would be the starter in Pittsburgh. They don't have anybody else. So I don't really understand why he would go to Minnesota and have to compete with J.J. McCarthy in training camp. That doesn't seem like an Aaron Rodgers thing to do. But we'll ask Jim Barker about that when he joins us in the next segment. Our poll question today is for EMJ Marketing. Transform your audience with a keynote speaker from EMJ Marketing's Elite Speakers Bureau. Check out their roster at emjmarketing.com. Are you into the UFL kickoff? Because it's kicking off tonight. I don't even know who the teams are. And initially 94% of respondents said no, they're not into it. It's now, last I checked, 87% of our viewers saying they're not into it. Utah Darren writes in and he says the only advantage the UFL has over other spring football leagues is they are owned by television networks. It's viewed by them as a TV show. Corey Chamberlain's in the league. Former Rider coach Marcel Belfay's in the league. It's not like we don't know people in the league. Last I checked, Jim Popser, director of player personnel. Even that's not enough to get me to watch. I'll be at the Florida Panthers and Utah Hockey Club tonight. We were asking the viewers, what would you have on your name bar if you played in the XFL, UFL, like they used to do 24 years ago? Tony in Cochrane's the only guy that answered. He says, with apologies to MC Hammer, how about can't touch this on my name bar? I like it. Did you put any thought into yours, Darren?
Yeah, I'd probably just, promote the column. I'd put moose droppings on the back of my name bar.
Mine would be probably one day at a time. How about that? One day at a time across. Why not? No, you know what?
How about that?
It would be ODAAT. ODAT, which is the acronym for one day at a time. Would force people to look it up. We'll get to the NFL draft if we have time, Tony. I appreciate you. He said he wanted to come here today to talk about it, but just some of the things that have come up. Breaking news from the Canadian Football League. We were all over it last hour and talked about it for a long time. The BC Lions are almost $350,000 over the salary cap for 2024. Also over the cap, the Toronto Argonauts, Saskatchewan Roughriders, and Ottawa Red Blacks by various amounts. If you want to know all the details, go to rodpeterson.com. But the BC Lions are, for the details, they're all there. But the BC Lions are basically being nailed to the wall. This is by far and away the most anybody's ever been over the cap in the Canadian Football League. And we've been following it and covering it for a very long time. It's no different than Aaron Ekblad of the Panthers being caught with a PED violation, or Andrew Harris of the Blue Bombers, or Lance Armstrong, or whatever. People just like to stand back, especially your rivals, and go, na-na-na-na, boo-boo. You cheated and you got caught. Fans of other teams themselves. I legitimately don't really care. I think we all knew BC was going to be over. The question was by how much? Does it make them look real bad or look like cheaters? They didn't win. So if they're cheating, they're bad at it. If you're going to pay a stiff price, it'd be nice to win. Like the Astros, at least they got a World Series out of it. How do you view teams over the cap like this?
I mean, yeah, it happens, and it's not great to be over that cap. Like, we're not sitting here being like, just go and spend. I mean, some teams do it and they end up winning. We saw it in Saskatchewan when they won the Grey Cup in 2013. Argos won the Grey Cup. They were over the cap, not by a lot. But at the end of the day, we're not sitting here with owners that are just willing to just spend money. Nobody's willing to just spend money with no consequences. Like, again, they still have books to balance. They're not in business or an ability to own a team by just spending money recklessly. Sometimes it's a calculated, like in BC, it was a calculated, move to sign these players and spend the money. And they thought they'd be really good. They had the Grey Cup at home, that was a calculated thing. Let's spend money and try and be in this game at home and make the most of our investment. It didn't work. So yeah, you can point fingers and laugh, but that's how business owners operate. When you have chips in, Grey Cup at home, or things that are happening, you keep spending to protect that investment. And guess what? Most investments don't work. You fail a lot. But when you win and an investment pays off, it pays off exponentially and it makes up for all the losses, usually, or that's what you hope. So you can laugh at them for failing, but they fail all the time. Successful business people fail all the time.
Of course. But let me just tell you this. I had a very good friend of mine who was a very well-heeled owner, part of an ownership consortium of a hockey team. And like we spent a lot of time together, not just at the rink, but we spent a lot of time together socially. We really got along well. And I said, what's the one thing that surprises you about owning a sports team that you didn't expect? And he goes, I've slit throats and stepped on heads my whole life to get to where I was, and nobody cared. But I take a dump at 8:07 in the morning, and it's on the front page of the newspaper. They're not used to that. I'm like, well, what did you think you were getting into? And this is part of what I'm kind of going with the flow of what sports is now compared to what I came up in. But the teams are owned by billionaires and millionaires and conglomerations like MLSE and CSEC or, Calgary and OSEG in Ottawa. And the thing with these rich guys, they don't like being taken to task for their mistakes. Welcome to public life, bro, especially sports. Do you think the quarterbacks like it? You think the goalies like it? You think the coaches like it? Think the referees like it? You want to pay to play? You got to play, brother, or get the hell out. And they just can't handle the criticism. So I don't know whether to continue laying it on or just lay off, because you don't see anybody else reporting it. Like BW wrote in here earlier, what's the latest on the commissioner's search? Go ask Farhan or Dave Naylor. They're the insiders. The owners control it all now. They don't want it out. So, hey, as you wish. Have you noticed the difference?
Yeah. The commissioner thing, is really, I think, this is rare in sports. It's rare in any league that you have this high profile position, in the league, and nobody has any news on it, and nobody's talking about it. And how often can you have some news and it not leak somewhere or something, which tells me a couple things. There is actually no news, and that would be very scary if there's no progress or no candidates. That would be very scary. But that's, I think, extremely likely. There's a real possibility, because there's no leaks, that there's actually nothing to leak. And the other is they've made it very clear that this is not to be leaked anywhere. And there is only the X number of us in this room. And if it gets out, we'll start grilling each and every one of you. Maybe there's a big threat there. It's one of those two.
As I say, as you wish, because I don't need to get on their bad side. These owners have all been largely pretty good to us. They treat us good. I don't need to piss them off. But on the flip side, it's very annoying. Because for those that just showed up on this Football Friday, they haven't watched all week. I talked about being at the PGA's Valstar Championship on Saturday, meeting some guys from Omaha, Nebraska and Kansas City, Missouri. What's the one thing we could talk about? The NFL. and Belichick to UNC. And where's Aaron Rodgers going to go? And at that time, Russell Wilson and blah, 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 blah. We can all talk about it. My chiropractor this week. How the Dolphins going to be? What do you think? The draft. None of that they want talked about in the CFL. Drives me crazy, but you know what? I am more than done talking about it or fighting it. As you wish. Utah, Darren writes in and he says, has the league ever gone through a season without a commissioner? Well, Gary Bettman's been the commissioner since 93 in the NHL. Roger Goodell almost as long. No, leagues don't do that. I appreciate the question, but no. And by the way, there is news. There is a short list. The interviews have been or are being conducted for the commissioner, but again, they don't want it out. Gordon, Ryder Gord. He says, talking about players' names, he hate me, ended up with the Eskimos. Rod Smart. Yeah, we talked about that last hour. BW writes in, says his name bar would be still kicking.
How about
Mine
that?
would be ODAT. And by the way, Jim Barker will be with us next hour. And Jim is always logged in early. He's watching us right now, I don't doubt. But I don't know. I was such a XFL fan back in the day, as I said, because of our friends that were in the league. Paul McCallum comes to mind. Jim was coaching in L.A., and they won the whole thing. But you and I were years away from meeting each other back then. You were like 14 when they played in 01. Do you remember any of that? Why we're talking about it is the UFL season kicks off tonight, and largely nobody cares. Nobody knows who the players are. Whatever. That's fine. But what do you recall of the XFL way back then?
Not much. I recall, the extreme side of it. Vince McMahon. I remember seeing him and Goldberg and some of these, wrestlers that were promoting it and all the rest. But that's about it. Largely, I don't really remember much. Some of the crazy kickoff things and, the coin toss where they fought for the football. Highlights. But I don't remember watching the games. I really don't.
Well, they kind of botched it. There's a 30 for 30 on it, and it's a great one in that the ratings were sky high for week one. Problem was the game went into like double overtime or something in Vegas. It cut into Saturday Night Live, which pissed everybody off. And I think they ripped up the TV contract like 2 weeks in because the game was that whole made-for-TV thing is a thing. Oh,
no.
But by the way, Kirk in Toronto, I'm getting it out now. He says, could you ask Mr. Barker to give an update on Chad Kelly's leg injury and when may he return this season? So I've put it into the universe. I've said it. We'll see if Jim Barker has an update. Moose, have a great weekend. Go Blue Jays, go.
Yeah, have a great weekend.
Football Friday rolls on. We're live across Canada on Game Plus TV and 32 U.S. states. Get your questions in for Jim Barker next as we're streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcasts are found.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Shania Twain.
Let's go, girls.
Live in Moose Jaw. Shania Twain. One incredible show. Live at Temple Garden Center, July 7th. With special guest, Lindsay L. Get tickets Friday, March 21st at 10 a.m. at the Temple Garden Center's box office or sasktix.ca. For more, visit ShaniaTwain.com.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Hour 2 is for Overtime Hockey Lanes. Achieve your hockey goals at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Whether you're looking to train for the big game or just want to have some fun, look them up at 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. I'll tell you what, for a March, there's a lot to talk about football-wise as we welcome in Jim Barker. A heck of a lot to talk about football-wise. And we're going to get to some XFL stuff, Jim, in a second. Who doesn't love talking about XFL stuff? But the big news today...
Wait. Before you go on, your XFL talk earlier. I was like you said, I was with the championship team. And I got to tell you, this is a great story. We're getting ready to play the game, and Vince McMahon came to talk to our team. And he said, we're basically what it was $1 million pot. Winner take all, loser got nothing. We were playing San Francisco, Greg Mon's team. It was Greg Mon's and that cast. Anyway, he says, it's not going to be about the money. The rings you guys are going to get are going to be spectacular. They're going to just shame the NFL rings. Well, this is my last CFL Grey Cup ring. Okay, here is the I don't know whether you can see it or not, but that's
to your left.
Ring.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
How's that? Anyway, it's to my left. Yeah, it's not bad, but it's far from a Grey Cup ring or a Super Bowl ring. And it was like a month after he told us that they dropped the league. So that's why we didn't get the big rings that we should have got, or that he had promised us. But he also promised us it doesn't matter whether one person shows up before the season. It doesn't matter whether we get one person in the stands. This league will be here 3 years. And then they pulled the plug at the end of a year. And, that's the problem with those leagues is you don't know. I mean, the UFL, God bless them, they're working hard, but they've lost 2 head coaches in the last 2 weeks. 2 head coaches, like a week before the games start. They've lost, and that's, Reggie Barlow went to Tennessee State, and then Ken Wisenhunt is having some personal issues and bailed out. So, that's tough when you have a league that you're trying to gain credibility, and 2 head coaches just leave the week, the 2 weeks before your first ball game. So again, it's on tonight, but I'm going to be watching basketball. I'm sorry. I don't know that I can bring myself to watch the UFL.
Well, it's like, if you're not, who is? I mean, because from Sasko writes in, Fake Gainer writes in on the 902 line. He says, "Hey, Rod Father, best XFL memories? With 1 kick, Paul McCallum set XFL records for longest field goal, most points in a game, and most career points. Benefits of scoring the first points in league history." At the very least, Jim, it was awesome. When you get a 30 for 30 on ESPN about the league, it was awesome. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, I love that 30 for 30. In fact, if you watch it close in the locker room after the championship game, I've got my mustache. I was just back in the old days. I had a mustache. It wasn't gray, and yeah, it's pretty. It was a lot of fun. I have to admit. In terms of coaching, I don't think I've ever had more fun in a season. You got players. They were motivated because their salaries were all the same. Everybody made $45,000. Didn't matter. Unless you were a kicker, you made 40, and if you were a quarterback, you made 50. Otherwise, everybody else made 45, and then you got a $2,500 every week you won. You got an extra $2,500. So you didn't have to motivate these guys. They were playing for either $2,500 or you get nothing if you lose. So it was just the same as the $1 million game. $1 million, our team split it, or the team that lost got nothing. And so those kind of things made coaching fun. The motivation was there. It was the players enjoyed it. I think early, first couple weeks, they didn't know what they wanted to be. They kind of wanted to be wrestling. They talked to Tommy Maddox about maybe having an affair with a cheerleader or doing something like that. And I got kids in school. I'm not doing that. And so the league evolved through that first season into football. And actually the football got much better at the end. So it was, like I say, I've coached a lot of seasons, a lot of teams. That was one of the most fun seasons I've ever had.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Some great road trips, too, I'm sure. So to the news of the day, 5 teams over the cap. BC way over the cap, almost $350,000. Then the Argos, Riders, and Red Blacks. What did you think when you heard this?
I actually was surprised it was as high as it was. I mean, this was a conscious decision. When Matthew Betts and Nathan Rourke came free, they sat down, and this was straight Amar Doman saying, it doesn't matter. We are hosting the Grey Cup. We will get it back. If we could get to the Grey Cup, we'll get all that money back. I don't care about going over. Again, no team has ever lost 2 draft picks. Montreal lost 1 draft pick back in 2008. If you're 100,000 over 100,000 over, you lose the 100,000, however much you're over, plus a draft pick. If you're 200,000 over, you then lose 2 draft picks. Now these guys were at 350. And fortunately, they didn't go 300 over. You lose 3 draft picks, or Buck Pierce would be in. That's tough to go into a place where you're going to have no first and second round picks because of a decision the owner made, and obviously there's no GM in this league that has the authority to just go over, and that was definitely what they did. They knew what was going to happen. It was a conscious decision. Again, I don't look at it as cheating. Some people look at it. I don't look at it as that. I look at it as a conscious decision you make, and competitively, they felt like that gave them a chance to win a huge game. I mean, the Grey Cup year in 2016, when I was in Toronto, Ricky Ray went down, and while we didn't do that, we gave up our first round pick the next year to get Drew Willie, which turned out to be a bad deal and probably ended up costing me my job. But it was hosting a Grey Cup, and it was only 3 years after the previous Grey Cup we had. And I did what our staff felt we needed to do to win the Grey Cup. That's how big having your own team is to teams that are in it. This year it's in Winnipeg. Well, I promise you, if it gets down to it and there's things Winnipeg has to do, they're going to do it. They're hosting it. If they're in it, the amount of money they can make even just goes up even higher. So there is a lot of pressure. I've lived that and watched it unfold before my eyes. So again, I was surprised as it was as much as it was. I didn't think it would be that much, but when you think about they brought in, between the two of them, they're close to $1 million, and so that probably makes sense that they went that much over.
Well, let me ask you this. I have what I do. I'm a broadcaster. I'm a reporter. I'm not a GM. I see these contracts. I see the clauses, the terms, the bonuses. It feels like it would be incredibly difficult to stay under the cap. Or is it not that? Like, I'm bad at math, however. So is it hard to do that job and stay under the cap or not?
All the years I was in it, I never was over the cap. Of course, I learned from Ted Hellard in 2006 is the one who kind of designed it. So I learned from him and knew how to track it. So I knew every day exactly where we were with every move. And, there are times you go to the owners and you say, if we do this, this is what's going to happen. We're going to be this far over, or we're going to have to do this in order to make the cap. So you should know every day exactly where you are in terms of going over the cap based on, how much they're going to make throughout the rest of the year. So, you get injuries is usually what causes you problems. But now it's a lot different because you can redo contracts and give guys who maybe don't have appearance money, which now doesn't count on the cap. So I was surprised as many teams went over as that did. Toronto was almost 100,000 over. That really surprised me. And then, like I say, the other two teams, Saskatchewan and Ottawa, going over. That was a bit of a surprise. It's one of those things that is, again, injuries cause it. Normally, that's what causes you to go over. Otherwise, it's just poor management. And again, I'm not going to say there's poor management in any one of those situations, but the BC Lions is a little different because they made a conscious effort to do what they did. And so, but like I said, I did it for a lot of years and never went over the cap.
Well, you're giving us a lot to think about and talk about, and it's just, I know how much you respect Jim Hopson, and I remember in 2013 when we won it, we were like 13 to 18,000 over or whatever, and when that came out, I was with Jim. I was with Jim a lot, and he just sat back and stroked his goatee, as he always did. He's like, so what? It's a speeding ticket. He didn't care. So it was worth it.
No,
we won.
That's right. That's right. And that's ultimately the goal. There's nobody who thinks of that 2013 Grey Cup championship team and says, yeah, that's the team that was over the cap. It just doesn't happen. They're Grey Cup champions. And again, that's what, and I don't look at it as when you go over, you understand it's a luxury tax. And the New York Yankees for years have gone, they have a cap in Major League Baseball for years, goes over, just pays the tax. Now that's a decision you can make. It's not, I think people look at it as cheating. It's not cheating. It's making conscious decisions about spending your money.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that because you're an American living in Canada. I'm a Canadian living in America. The differences are night and day. And, the Astros in 2017 comes almost every day, Jim. That's not salary cap over, but the cheating with the signals comes up almost every day. It was just a total different topic, and I want to stay on football. I wouldn't, if you don't mind, Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback carousel, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, it's almost completely spun. Where do you think Aaron Rodgers ends up in 2025?
Wow. I'm starting to feel more and more like he might just wait and wait for a major injury to a team that maybe has a chance rather than, it doesn't sound like the Vikings are going to go that way. They want to go ahead and give J.J. McCarthy the reins and let him grow. And, that'll be difficult. I don't know why. I just have this feeling that he may not sign with anybody. He may hang tight and wait. His value, and I try to talk to guys a lot about if you're a veteran player and you don't have a team really coming after you, your best thing is to wait, because when they go to camp and somebody gets hurt, they want a veteran player. They don't want to have to go find somebody who's never played. They want to bring somebody they know what he's going to do. And so I think their value goes up at that point rather than where it is right now. The problem with a quarterback is you have a whole system you have to learn. Now, if he goes I don't even think Nathaniel Hackett's anywhere, but if he goes somewhere where he knows the offensive coordinator and they know him, maybe that would be a different situation. Maybe Justin Fields gets hurt early and now the Jets are stuck and they go back and go back to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you think, wow, that's really far-fetched, but it's really not. If Justin Fields was to get hurt, my bet, again, I don't even know who the backup is at this point, but they're going to, that's the New York Jets. They're going to want to make some kind of move to stay competitive. I thought that the Giants picking up Russell Wilson was really interesting. I think the Steelers are still going to be a possibility for Aaron Rodgers. You're wearing their thing today. I thought maybe it was to announce that they had signed Aaron Rodgers.
No.
So I don't know.
I just got all the gear.
I just have this feeling that maybe he's going to wait.
Last one. I can't let you get out of here without asking.
Wait,
you got something on that?
Quick. Well, I think it's down to 2 to 3, and I believe it's going to be somebody with a really strong media background. So the name Rod Pedersen came up all the time.
How about that?
But
yeah, I'm sure.
Let's go.
Can I do it from Florida?
It's somebody with the media. The other question was Chad Kelly. I saw him last week at his wedding, coming along fantastic. He believes he's going to be ready to go full at training camp. He says he's doing everything now that the trainers are asking him to do. He's really happy with where he's at. So he's fully expecting when training camp starts that he's a full go. Now, again, can things change between now and then? Sure. But as of a week ago Wednesday, he was feeling fantastic and, excited about the season coming up. He's now a married man and hopefully calmed down and it keeps his focus where it needs to be.
Yeah, well, hey, thanks for the update. And in less than a minute, producer Clark has informed us that Deion Sanders has signed a 5-year extension staying with the Colorado Buffaloes worth $54 million. If you were an NFL team, would you draft his kid at all and B, worry about Deion looking over your shoulder as the head coach if you did?
No, if I would draft him for sure. I think he's a very talented player. You can't worry about that kind of stuff. When you're a coach, you take the best player that gives you the best chance to win. If you worry about, if I take that guy, this guy's going to take my job, you're never going to win. So you got to take him if you believe he's the best person available that can help your club. And I just believe one of those teams at the top is going to take him, second or third. He could go first, but I'm going to guess second or third, and we'll see. But that would not. There's not. I don't believe there's a coach in the world that will say, "I'm just not sure." He signed for $54 million, but he could take this job next year. I don't see any coach ever thinking that way.
Yeah, they don't. You hear people talking about it, but I don't know any coaches that do. Jim, always a blast. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you in a week.
Sounds great. Thanks, Rod. Commissioner Rod.
The CFL on.
How about that?
Funny. I heard that. I heard you. Don't believe it, though. Mike Kelly and I have discussed that. Yeah, we'd take it if we could stay in Florida. We're live on Game Plus TV, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcasts are found.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
I'm sorry, guys. Oh, here we go. I apologize to Mark in Burlington. Can you wait a week? He's watching in Burlington, Ontario, and that town has produced some real greats, hasn't it? He says, Rod, can you please ask Jim Barker what he knows about the future of Adam Big Hill? Maybe Jim's still watching, or you know what? Let me ask Jim right now. Can you bear with me? Can you hang on while I text him? Jim Barker. Hi, Jim. What should I say? A viewer wants to know what you know about Adam Big Hill's future. Spell check. Thanks. Send. Let's see what he says. Let's see how long it takes him to respond. Better yet. Okay. I see you guys having I see you having a great chat about the NFL draft. The thing is, nobody will remember what anybody's saying a month away from the draft. For instance, Tony and Cochran says, he said, Shitter will be drafted, but not in the top 10. I beg to disagree. I think he's going to go in the top 3. I see everybody else is fighting in here on the comments. I'm staying out of that. Colin in Ottawa says, as a New York Jets fan, I don't want to hear the name Nathaniel Hackett ever again. He's a terrible offensive coordinator who can't call an NFL game to save his life. All I want to say is I really appreciate you showing up to watch our Cats and Bolts live podcast the other day. Colin in Ottawa, I really appreciated that. Wasn't it fun? And wasn't it mind-bendingly different than this show? Not everybody could do that. Oh, he wrote me back. Jim Barker did. He will be one of those wait for a key injury guy, in my opinion. Have not heard any team offering him. Less than a minute it took. He'll be waiting for an injury. Nobody's made him offer. There you go. Do you name me another show that's like this where you can get your questions answered by the big names? Nobody, I tell you. Rich in Edmonton says they're having a mild disagreement. Him and Jeff, the Stamps fan. They're getting along just fine. 902-518-3033 is the Progressive Insurance text line. Who was it? It was actually BW from Edmonton that said this show mixes big city sports with small town charm. And this Sunday, from this desk, I'll be broadcasting the Provincial Midget U18 C final between the Milestone Flyers, my old team, and the Aberdeen, what are they? Angus's?
How about that?
And is Jordan directing today, Clark? Or who you got beside you in the air chair there? Yeah, Jordan? Jordan is directing this show, and he's going to be producing Sunday night's broadcasts, live streaming. It's kind of groundbreaking, actually, because it's a first for Jordan. It's a first for me. We did so many of the computer simulation games during the CFL wiped out season and the SJ season, but this is different. This is a live hockey game we're going to do. My old team. It's the best team Milestone has had since we won it all back in 1989. So the people in my hometown were like, it would be cool if you broadcast this game. And I said, well, I'll do it, but I'm not leaving Florida. Figure out a way to do it, and I'll do it. And we're doing it with Jordan, which, by the way, I have zero issues or worries. I hope you have none with me, Jordan. I know we're going to pull it off seamlessly. Can I just say this? If you can set your camera up at center ice, that would be, because they're going to try and stick you in the corner, just so you know. Don't let them. Take a couple 100 feet of internet cord, and they're going to try and stick you in the sound booth. That's what they do out there. Heavy Gym Sports Update. 6 games are on the NHL slate tonight, including 3 featuring Canadian teams. The Western Conference leading Winnipeg Jets can take over first place in the league with a win over visiting New Jersey. The Montreal Canadiens visit Carolina, while the Vancouver Canucks face Columbus. Moose and I made our picks last hour. I beat him last night 6-5. Overall, have a 2-game advantage aggregate in 2025. I enjoy the sports betting, but only this. That's all I do. The Toronto Blue Jays aim to rebound tonight as they host the Baltimore Orioles in the second game of their Major League Baseball season. Toronto took a 12-2 beating in yesterday's opener. Kevin Gausman gets the start for the Blue Jays, while the Orioles send Charlie Morton to the mound. The Toronto Raptors look to extend their win streak to 3 games as they host the Charlotte Hornets tonight at NBA play. Toronto coming off a dominant 116-86 road win over Brooklyn on Wednesday, while Charlotte aims to halt a 3-game slide. The Memphis Grizzlies have parted ways with their winningest coach, Taylor Jenkins, with the team struggling down the stretch and at risk of losing home court advantage for the postseason. Grizzlies announced it this morning. And Rob Gronkowski grew up emulating his sports heroes in school, never shy about unleashing a stone-cold stunner or dropping a people's elbow on his roughhousing friends. So it was of little surprise that the fun-loving, fearless Gronkowski's charisma and hulking muscles made him a natural fit as a WWE star. He hosted WrestleMania in 2020. He was provoked into jumping the rail and hit the ring at another WrestleMania after bad guy Jinder Mahal tossed a drink in his face. Gronk is tag team partners again with WWE, this year bringing the Gronk beach parties he threw at the Super Bowl to WrestleMania next month in Las Vegas. That's in the news. This is where we are as a society. The Sports Update is brought to you by Heavy Gym. Speaking of big muscles, Heavy Gym isn't just about lifting weights. It's about lifting your spirit, your strength, and your potential. Step into the gym that's changing lives. Find out more at heavygym.ca. Overtime up next. Let's put a wrapper on a great week. Right after this, everybody, we're live across Canada and 32 U.S. states on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcasting, wherever the best podcast.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Shania Twain.
Let's go, girls.
Live in Moose Jaw. Shania Twain. One incredible show. Live at Temple Garden Center, July 7th. With special guest, Lindsay L. Get tickets Friday, March 21st at 10 a.m. at the Temple Garden Center's box office or sasktix.ca. For more, visit ShaniaTwain.com.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
There's always something exciting going on at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. New exhibits, new lanes, new lighting, new programs, new player development camps, you name it. But it's a family-run outfit. Randy and Michelle, they put in some long hours there serving you. Achieve your hockey goals at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, 28th Street Northeast. Just a snapshot away from the old Crossroads Flea Market. You know, I could sit here and read today's sports headlines all day. There are a lot of those out there. 902-518-3033. Paul in Humboldt writes in and he says, okay, we're going to have a lot of fun here to wrap this up in overtime. Paul says, is the Jim Pedersen broadcast booth still there in Milestones Rink? If so, Farmer built to last. No, they knocked the rink down, the Diesel Dome, but it was built. And I'll never forget my dad pounding these 6-inch spikes into the, I'll never forget as long as I live. He was, the man could do it all, Jim Pedersen. But he used to say, it not good for pretty, but it good for strong. And then they tore the rink down, and now we got a brand new rink, which we built in 1991, and it's quite beautiful. Colin in Ottawa writes that he says, Rod, were you on the 1989 Milestone team that won it all? Starting goalie? Yeah, and here's the thing that they still bother me about, my teammates on that team. Started every game through the whole playoff run, and then for the last game, with 10 minutes to go, we were up on Duck Lake like 10-1 or something, and they brought me out and put in Kenny Brooks, my backup, who hadn't played a minute, all playoffs. So when we won, the guys spill onto the ice. They didn't know what to do. Usually you would go to the goalie. And they didn't. And now, for years afterwards, the guys would say to me, yeah, well, you weren't on the ice when we won it. Thanks a lot, guys. That was Jim Munson's brainchild to take out the starting goalie for the last 10 minutes of the third period on the way to winning the whole thing. I don't even know if they've ever broadcast a game out of the new rink, to be honest. There were more broadcasts out of the old rink than the new rink. How about that?
How about that?
Okay, you guys talking about the NFL draft. Couple things here. Brad Marchand is ready for his Florida debut. The Panthers said Marchand, who, because of an upper body injury, hasn't appeared in a game with Florida since being acquired March 7th from Boston, will be in the lineup tonight when the team plays host to the Utah Hockey Club. It'll be the first time in 1,091 NHL games that Marchand takes the ice in something other than a Bruins sweater. Marchand had 21 goals and 26 assists in 61 games with the Bruins this season. This illustrates why I'm kind of struggling to find my way a little bit in the media business, but overall we'll be fine. But it's like all the media around here was all worried to declare Marchand would play tonight until the Panthers gave them the go-ahead. Because Paul Maurice didn't definitively say on Wednesday and didn't definitively say on Thursday that he was in. But I could tell by what he was saying, he's in. It was Wednesday that he said, well, he's going to go through a full practice Thursday. And if there's no problems, then he'll be good to go Friday. I'm like, he's in. He's been skating for a month at full bore anyways. What's going to happen on the Thursday? He's in. And I'll be there. And I thank the Panthers for the seat. I'm going to see Brent from Wellington, Florida there in warm-up. We're going to have a big time here in Sunrise. Cam Ward believes he's solidified his shot to be the #1 pick in the NFL draft. The Tennessee Titans have the first crack to make the Heisman Trophy finalist from Miami their franchise quarterback. Or they could choose Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders, Penn State edge rusher Abdul Carter, or two-way star Travis Hunter, the Heisman Trophy winner. The Cleveland Browns have the second pick, followed by the New York Giants. The Browns still need a franchise quarterback, while the Giants still could select a quarterback despite signing Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston in free agency. And we still got a month to go. We've been talking about this for 2 months. They don't get tired of it. And when I say they, I mean the Americans. I've never seen anything like it. Some of you will say NHL talking Canada, Ryder Talk in Saskatchewan, you'd probably be right. But I'm like, oh, my God, can we talk about something else? It was like those 2 summers that I spent in Calgary. The Flames talk. Can we talk about something else? You all know you got a football team, right? Doesn't matter. They're putting in the ice today. Okay. People are sending out their farewells and have a great weekend. And Wayne in Victoria, BC says, I'm very glad to be living in Victoria. No snow, just rain. Same here in Florida, right? Not even rain. You can't shovel sunshine. Mark in Burlington, we got it answered. The future of Adam Bighill, no offers have been made yet. Jim Barker thinks he could end up in Hamilton with the new general manager there, Ted Gavaya, who's a Winnipeg guy. Don in Ottawa says, that's why I don't watch the sports talking heads. What is why? What's why, Don? Why? These guys are having a real fun discussion here. What I will say is this. I'm really enjoying watching Pardon the Interruption. It's been a slower week in terms of being able to sit down and watch the same program every night on television. And those guys just make me feel good, no matter who it is. Kornheiser, Wilbon, yesterday Pablo Torre was on there. It's entertaining, but it's only 30 minutes. I hope you get the same good vibes watching this show and maybe learn something along the way. Don says too much talk about nothing, Rod. That's why we keep this rolling. We try to inform. We try to entertain. Breaking news is that very rarely do you see that on the other shows, which is kind of odd when you think about it. But it's like, if you can do it, why wouldn't you do it? And we do it here. 4 teams over the cap of the CFL. Some very interesting comments from Jim Barker on that. It's either deliberate that they're over or mismanagement. I would say neither one is good. Neither one is a mistake, I guess. Yeah, it's been fantastic. Everybody have a great, safe weekend. And we'll do it again Monday right here on Game Plus.
Truth's in the coffee. It's Truth Serum.